How's it going, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. Today I have a strange video that I wasn't really planning on ever having to film something like this, but this is our 2006 Saab 9.3 Aero. This is the car that my mom drives on a daily basis, and a few days ago she complained that she heard a noise coming from the brakes. So sure enough, we start taking some stuff apart and looking at it, and we notice that the rear brakes are just completely wrong. So I'll go through and explain everything wrong with the brake job that was done on this car last, which is obviously well before we bought it. But that's what one of the brake pads looks like, is that right there. So that is obviously very wrong. This car has the same exact rear brakes as both this car and this car, so I'll take a picture of how this rear caliper and rotor and everything looks, and then I want you guys to look at it next to this one and tell me what's different. Now, if you haven't figured it out already, the big first thing that is completely wrong is this clip. This clip should be hooked around this side of this bracket right here. So in other words, the caliper I don't think is on as far as it should be, which I think is probably part of the reason why those pads wore as it did, and I'll go back over them in a second and show how bad the rotors look too. I mean, this clip is the last thing you put in, but because this is in wrong and something was just all messed up to begin with, these guide pins in here, you can see this is supposed to be lined up with this, and you can see they're at an angle. They are not lined up at all. So these guide pins were a pain to take out on the other side. So it makes me think, were these brakes even really working as they were supposed to? Because this needs to slide forward and back, and if it's crooked, it's going to make it way harder for that to even do. As we started looking at this side more, we just noticed more and more things that were wrong with this job. This right here is the front pad, so it goes right in here like that, facing that direction. And this is where I think the noise was coming from, because if you look, this pad is not wearing straight. It should be wearing very evenly. And you can see the top of the pad is already completely gone, and it's wearing on the metal clip here, which I think is where that noise was coming from. I mean, but just look at how bad that is. Before I go any further, I do want to say, if you are enjoying, well, I guess maybe not enjoying this video in particular, but if you enjoy Saabs, you enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Help me reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers. But the front brakes here, thankfully, I checked these. Grab a flashlight here real quick. It's the only way I can fit the camera in here, and the light's being really funky, but you can see there's a bunch of pad left on the front brakes. So thankfully, and they're worn evenly like they should be, so thankfully, I think that they did the front brakes right, or at least they only did the rear brakes, but I just don't know how a shop can mess that up so badly. I mean, I assume it was a shop that did it at some point in the car's previous ownership. But back to what else is wrong here, because I talked about the guide pins. I showed you guys the front pad, the rear pad, the one that of course goes behind the rotor, and that one is it's also worn at an angle, not as dramatic of an angle side to side as the other one, but you can see that the pad was not even being worn on this top part, on the outside edge. It was just literally just not even being used. So I'm not sure how this even happens in the first place. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. You can see the rotor on the inside edge, the part where there was a lot more material on the pad, is barely even used. On the outside edge, I mean, I can rub it with my finger. I'm not sure if it'll come up on camera. Probably not, but it's slanted at an angle. So this metal clip has dug into the rotor and has taken a lot of surface off of this rotor. Additionally, this screw, which just goes through the rotor to kind of hold it in place and make it easier to put the wheels back on, that goes into the hub right here, that was put in at an angle. I tried to take a picture of it. I'm not sure how well it'll come out, but it was in like sideways like this. So I don't even know how you can botch a brake job that badly. Quite frankly, well, one, I'm glad it's the rear brakes, because the rear brakes do way less than the front brakes, but secondly, like, that happened on the front brakes too. I mean, imagine how bad that could have possibly ended. So thankfully the front brakes are all in good shape. So we have ordered new pads, new rotors, and new guide pins for both sides on the rear, so we'll be replacing those. Yeah, it's frustrating. Like I don't know, I've said it like 3 times already, but how can someone botch a brake job that bad? I mean, the clip that holds the caliper and the bracket together, that part was off. The guide pins were in crooked. Both the pads are worn unevenly. The rotor is completely messed up. The little screw that holds the rotor on the hub, that was all in crooked. So that's 6 things right there that are just completely wrong with this job. So I don't know how, as a mechanic, or even just someone who works on their own cars like me, could do a job like that and look at it and be like, yeah, I think that's right. That seems okay. I don't know. It's just kind of ridiculous, and quite frankly, it's also very dangerous, especially with something like brakes. But like I said, thankfully they were the rear brakes, so they're not as important, and the front brakes are in excellent condition. So with that being said, I think that's all I've really got for today, guys. One more thing before this video ends. If you live in the southwestern US and you're looking for something to do this Saturday, feel free to come out to our Saab Club of Arizona cruise. We're going to be hosting it Saturday morning. That is November 14th. I will post some screenshots on the screen here with details, but we're basically going to be meeting in Tempe, and we're going to be driving up to Bartlett Lake, which is about 50 minutes, 1 hour in one direction. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you have already seen this. You also would see that pretty much every weekend I'm doing some sort of cruise with some Saab friends. So it's a great drive, great roads. It'll be a lot of fun. We're expecting, hopefully, like, there's 15 people that have said they're going about, so hopefully we'll see 15 cars there. If you're interested, I'll have the details on the screen though, and you can get the exact address of where we're meeting up, and then of course where we're going. So I hope to see some of you there as well. But yeah, I think that wraps up this video. This weekend also, of course, or will also be, of course, replacing these rear brakes, so I guess that'll be fun. But with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. We got 5 minutes of rain the other day, so naturally the car is absolutely filthy. And I'll see you all next time.